Stop writing down vocabulary lists. Stop memorizing grammar tables. If you want to be fluent in 30 days, you have to destroy everything you think you know about learning a language. Most students stay stuck at the intermediate level for 20 years. They die with intermediate English. It is tragic. But today, we are handing you the map out of that prison.
It is not a map, Daisy. It is a battle plan. I have seen thousands of students fail because they treat English like a math problem. English is not math. It is music. And if you cannot hear the music, you will never play the song. Today, I'm revealing the exact 30-day schedule I gave to a diplomat in 1998 who had 1 month to save his career.
Welcome to the Slow English channel. I'm Daisy, and we are skipping the small talk because we have a massive mountain to climb today. We are joined by the legendary Professor Peter Hanson from New York. Peter, you just mentioned a diplomat. This sounds intense.
It was incredibly intense. This was back when I was teaching at a private institute in Lower Manhattan. It was a rainy October. I remember the rain hitting the window pane like bullets. A man walked in. Let's call him Sergey. He was high-ranking, very smart. He could read Shakespeare, Daisy. He could write beautiful essays, but he could not order a coffee without sweating. He had 30 days before a major summit in Washington, D.C. He told me, "Peter, if I cannot speak fluently by November 1st, I will be reassigned. My career is over."
That is high pressure. I think many of our listeners feel that same pressure, even if they are not diplomats. They feel the pressure of job interviews or moving to a new country. So, Peter, you had 30 days. What was the very first thing you told him to do on day 1?
I told him to throw away his textbooks. He looked at me like I was crazy. He had these expensive grammar books, heavily highlighted. I took a trash can, placed it in the center of the room, and said, "Sergey, drop them."
You actually made him throw them away?
I did, because fluency is not about studying, it is acquisition. There's a huge difference. Studying is analytical, it is slow, it happens in the frontal cortex. Acquisition is subconscious. It feels like magic, but it's actually biology. So the schedule I designed for him and the schedule we are sharing today is based on 4 weeks of radical immersion. Week 1 is what I call the silent sponge.
The silent sponge. I love that image. Before we dive into the daily breakdown of week 1, I want to pause on something you just said. You said fluency is not studying, it's acquisition. This is a very complex concept for many people. Can you break that down?
Imagine a baby. Does a baby study grammar? Does a baby hold a flashcard that says mama? No. The baby listens. The baby absorbs. The baby is a sponge. For the first 2 years of your life, you were in a silent period. You were building a database of sounds. Adults try to skip this. They want to speak on day 1. It's a mistake. You cannot output what you have not input.
That is a brilliant point. You cannot output what you have not input. Listeners, write that down in your mind. Don't write it on paper, just feel it. Peter, let's go to day 1 to day 7 of this schedule, the silent sponge week. What does the student actually do from the moment they wake up?
Okay, here's the rule for week 1. No speaking.
No speaking at all?
0. If you try to speak before you're ready, you fossilize your mistakes. You lock in bad pronunciation. So for the first 7 days, Sergey was forbidden from speaking English. His schedule looked like this. 7 a.m., he wakes up. Immediately, headphones go on. This is non-negotiable. He's not listening to the news. He's listening to stories, high-context stories.
Why stories and not the news?
Because the news is robotic. The news is sterile. You need emotion. Human memory hangs on to emotion like a climber hangs on to a rock face. If there is no emotion, you slip,
you fall. I made him listen to audiobooks that were slightly above his level. This is a concept called Comprehensible Input +1.
Let's slow down there. Comprehensible input. That's a linguistic term. Daisy here, stepping in to clarify. Comprehensible means understandable. If you listen to something and you understand 0%, it's just noise, it's garbage. If you understand 100%, you're not learning. You need to be in that sweet spot. Maybe you understand 70%. You get the main idea, but you miss some details. That gap, that 30% gap, is where the brain wakes up and starts to work. It tries to fill in the blanks.
Exactly, Daisy. It's like a puzzle. If the puzzle is already finished, it's boring. If the puzzle has no picture, it's impossible. You need a puzzle with some pieces missing. So, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., while he's making coffee, showering, getting dressed, he's listening. But he's not just listening passively. He's doing what I call active visualization.
Active visualization? This sounds like meditation.
It's similar. When he hears the word apple, he must not translate it to his native language. He must see a red, shiny, crunchy apple in his mind. He must imagine the taste. This connects the English sound directly to the concept, bypassing the translation center of the brain. Translation is the enemy of fluency.
That's so true. I tell my students in London this all the time. If you translate, you're always 2 seconds behind the conversation. You're lagging.
You're buffering. Like a bad internet connection. You're buffering in real life. So, that's the morning routine. Now, the workday. Most people say, "Oh, Peter, I have a job. I can't study for 8 hours." I know. I'm not asking you to quit your job, but you have dead time. You have the commute, you have the lunch break, you have the time waiting for the elevator.
The dead time. I like that. We often think our day is full, but if we look closely, there are these little pockets of air. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
Precisely. I told Sergey, every time you have 5 minutes, you don't check your phone, you don't look at social media, you listen to one specific dialogue, 1 minute long, and you listen to it 20 times. Repetition is the mother of skill.
20 times? That sounds boring.
It is boring. Do you want to be entertained or do you want to be fluent? This is the question. Athletes do the same stretch 5,000 times. Pianists play the same scale 10,000 times. Why do language learners think they're special? Why do they think they can hear a word once and own it? You must drill it into your subconscious.
That's a harsh truth, Peter, but we need to hear it. Listeners, ask yourself right now, are you seeking entertainment or are you seeking mastery? Because mastery requires repetition.
Now, let's move to the evening of week 1. This is where the magic happens. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., 2 hours. This is the deep dive. Sergey had to take the transcript of the audio he listened to in the morning. He had to read it while listening. But here's the trick. He had to use 3 different colored highlighters.
I love stationery. Tell me about the highlighters.
Yellow for new vocabulary, pink for linking sounds, and green for intonation patterns.
Oh, this is getting technical. Can we break this down? Linking sounds. This is something native speakers do naturally, but learners struggle with. For example, in British English, if I say law and order, I actually pronounce a little R sound in the middle. Law, and order. We connect the words.
Ah, the intrusive R, very British. In New York, we smash words together. What are you doing becomes what you doing. If you expect to hear what are you doing, you'll be lost. You'll drown. So I made Sergey mark every time 2 words kissed each other, every time the end of one word flowed into the start of the next.
Kissed each other. That's a lovely way to put it. Linguistics is romantic, isn't it? So he's marking the text. He's analyzing the music of the language.
Yes, he's analyzing the sheet music. He's not playing it yet. Remember, week 1 is silence. He's just understanding how the machine works. By the end of day 7, Sergey looked tired. His brain was full. He told me, "Peter, I'm dreaming in English sounds. I don't understand the dreams, but the sounds are there." I said, "Good. The virus has taken hold."
The virus? That sounds ominous.
A beneficial virus. The language is rewriting his operating system. Now, before we move to week 2, Daisy, I want to address something. You mentioned the British law and order. We need to talk about the differences in schedule and timing between our two cultures, because if our listeners follow this schedule, they need to know which vocabulary to use.
Oh, absolutely. This is a minefield. For example, Peter, if I want to book an appointment with you, I might say, "Let me check my diary."
See, in America, if you say diary, I think of a 12-year-old girl writing about her crush. "Dear diary, today Johnny looked at me." A grown man in New York does not have a diary. He has a planner, or a calendar, or a schedule.
See, that is hilarious. In the UK, a diary is very professional. "I'm afraid my diary is full for the next fortnight."
Fortnight. Oh, there is that word. I haven't heard that word since I read Lord of the Rings. No American uses fortnight. We say 2 weeks. If you go to a business meeting in Chicago and say, "I will see you in a fortnight," they will think you are a time traveler from the Victorian era.
A time traveler. But it is so efficient. Fortnight, 14 nights. It makes perfect sense.
It is poetic, Daisy, but it is not practical for us. And let's talk about the word schedule.
Yes, the big one. I say schedule, soft sh, schedule.
And I say schedule, hard K, schedule. It comes from the Greek schema, so technically we are closer to the root.
Well, I would argue the French influence on English is stronger in this regard, hence the soft sh. But we could debate etymology all day. The point is, listeners, you will hear both. If you are following Peter's plan, choose one accent and stick to it for the 30 days. Do not mix them yet. If you are shadowing me, say schedule. If you are shadowing Peter, say schedule. Consistency is key.
Agreed. Pick a lane and drive in it. So, we arrive at week 2. Week 2 is the awakening. This is where the mouth opens, but not for conversation.
Not for conversation, but surely they want to talk to people.
No. People are dangerous. People are unpredictable. If you talk to a real person too early, they might speak too fast, they might use slang you don't know, and you will panic. Your confidence will crash. Week 2 is about controlling the environment. Week 2 is about shadowing.
Shadowing. This is a popular technique, but I feel many people do it wrong. They just mumble along.
Mumbling is useless. Shadowing must be active. Here is the drill I gave Sergey. He had to stand in front of a mirror. He had to look himself in the eyes. He played the audio from week 1, the audio he already knows perfectly, and he had to speak it at the exact same time as the speaker. Same speed, same emotion, same pauses.
It's like karaoke, but for speaking.
Exactly. But I added a twist. This is the Hanson method twist. I made him do it with exaggerated emotions.
What do you mean?
I mean, take a simple sentence like, "I would like to order a coffee." Daisy, I want you to say that sentence, but first, say it like you are incredibly bored.
I would like to order a coffee.
Good. Now, say it like you are furious. You've been waiting for 20 minutes. You're angry.
I would like to order a coffee.
Excellent. Now, say it like you are telling a secret to a lover.
I would like to order a coffee.
Perfect. Listeners, did you hear how the music changed? The grammar was the same, the vocabulary was the same, but the pitch, the speed, the volume, everything changed. I made Sergey do this for hours. He felt ridiculous. He told me, "Peter, I feel like an actor in a bad soap opera." I said, "Good. You're loosening the muscles. You're breaking the stiffness."
This is such a valuable exercise. We get so stiff when we speak a foreign language. We tighten our jaw, we tighten our throat. By playing with emotions, you physically relax the vocal cords.
Yes, and you stop translating. When you're acting angry, you're focusing on the anger, not the grammar. You bypass the analytical brain again. Week 2 was physically exhausting for him. His jaw hurt, his tongue was tired. English requires different muscle movements than Russian or Spanish or Chinese. You have to train your tongue like you train your biceps at the gym.
Let's talk about a specific sound that hurts people's mouths, the TH sound. The unvoiced th, like in think, and the voiced the, like in those.
The bane of my existence. I have spent 30 years watching students bite their tongues trying to make this sound.
It is tricky. You have to stick your tongue out between your teeth. It feels rude. In many cultures, sticking your tongue out is disrespectful, so students subconsciously pull it back, and then think becomes sink.
Or think. I had a student once, a lovely Italian guy, who said, "I am thinking about it." I said, "What are you thinking?" It changes the meaning entirely. So for the th sound, I use the slow motion drill. Daisy, demonstrate a slow motion th breakdown.
Okay, listeners, watch my mouth with your ears. Open your mouth slightly. Put the tip of your tongue gently against the bottom of your upper teeth. Now blow air. Do not make a voice, just air. Now add the vowel. Think, think.
Beautiful. Now the voiced one. Engage your vocal cords. It should buzz like a bee. Zzz, but with the tongue out. F, th, this, that. They.
If your lips aren't tingling, you're not doing it right. It should tickle.
Exactly. If you don't feel the tickle, you're failing. Sergey spent week 2 buzzing and blowing air in front of a mirror. His wife thought he was losing his mind, but by the end of week 2, his pronunciation was crisp. He sounded American.
So, week 1 was listening. Week 2 was shadowing and pronunciation. Now we hit week 3. This must be the brain week.
Week 3 is the construction site. This is where we start to build our own sentences, but again, not with free conversation. We use a technique called scripting.
Scripting. Tell us more.
Most people go into a conversation naked. They have nothing prepared. They hope the words will come. They won't. You need a script. I told Sergey to write down the 10 most likely conversations he would have at the summit in Washington.
Predictable conversations. That's smart.
Life is surprisingly predictable, Daisy. If you go to a restaurant, you know what the waiter will ask. He'll ask, "Table for 2? Still or sparkling? Are you ready to order?" It's a script. If you memorize your lines, you can perform perfectly.
So, you made him write out the dialogues.
Yes, we wrote them out, we corrected the grammar, and then he memorized them. He memorized them until he could do them while doing push-ups.
While doing push-ups? That is Drill Sergeant Peter.
Chuckle, stress testing. If you can speak English while doing physical exercise, it means the English is deep in your body. If you have to stop moving to think of the word, you don't know it yet. We call this automaticity.
Automaticity. That's the goal. We want to be automatic. Like driving a car. You don't think foot on brake, hand on gear stick. You just do it.
Exactly. Week 3 is about building these automatic scripts. We focused on connector phrases. These are the glue that hold English together. Phrases like, "That's a good point, but," or "Speaking of which," or "To be honest with you."
Oh, I love those. We call them fillers sometimes, but they're more than that. They're floor holders. They signal to the other person that you are still speaking, even if you're thinking.
Correct. If you just go silent while you think, the other person will interrupt you. But if you say, well, let me see, you buy yourself 3 seconds of thinking time. It's a tactical maneuver.
Let's practice some of these. I'll give a prompt, and Peter, you give me a connector phrase that buys time.
Hit me.
Peter, what do you think about the geopolitical situation in Antarctica?
That's an interesting question, Daisy, and it brings up several issues.
Say that? He said nothing of substance yet, but he sounded fluent. He sounded in control. He bought himself 5 seconds to remember where Antarctica is.
Exactly. I was panicking internally, but on the outside, I was cool. I was composed. That's the power of connector phrases. Sergey memorized 50 of these. By the end of week 3, he could navigate any conversation, even if he didn't know the answer. He could pivot. He could deflect. He sounded like a diplomat.
Which is exactly what he needed. Okay, we're approaching the final week. Week 4. The summit is approaching. The pressure is on. What happens in week 4?
Week 4 is the gladiator arena. This is where we open the door and push him out into the real world, but we do it with specific missions. I didn't say, go talk to people. That's too vague. I gave him missions.
Like a secret agent.
Yes. Mission 1, go to a coffee shop, order a coffee, ask the barista how his day is going, and, this is the hard part, you must keep the conversation going for at least 3 turns.
3 turns. So, you speak, he speaks, you speak, he speaks.
Right. It sounds easy, but in New York, people are busy. They don't want to chat. You have to be charming. You have to be quick. Sergey came back from this mission sweating. He said, Peter, the guy looked at me like I was wasting his time. I said, good, you survived. Did you die? He said, no. I said, did you get the coffee? He said, yes. I said, success.
That fear of social rejection is huge. We're so afraid of bothering people, especially in English-speaking cultures where we value privacy. In London, if you talk to a stranger on the tube, they think you are mad.
In New York, they think you are selling something. But you have to break that fear. This is the mentorship segment of our episode today. Listen closely. You have to be willing to be a fool. The biggest barrier to fluency is not grammar. It is ego. You want to look smart. You want to look professional. But to learn, you must look stupid. You must make mistakes. You must stumble.
To learn, you must look stupid. That is powerful. It reminds me of the idiom to have egg on your face.
Yes, to look foolish. Let's break that down. Egg on your face. Imagine you're eating breakfast messily. You have egg on your chin. You walk around all day like that. You look silly. If you make a grammar mistake, you feel like you have egg on your face.
But here's the secret, Daisy. Nobody cares. People are thinking about themselves. They are not thinking about your preposition mistake.
Sergey realized this in week 4. He had a mission to go to a bookstore and ask for a book that didn't exist.
What? Why?
To practice clarifying, to practice handling confusion, he had to ask for The History of Invisible Rabbits.
You are cruel.
The clerk was confused. Excuse me, invisible rabbits? Sergey had to explain. He had to use different words. He had to paraphrase. This is a critical skill, circumlocution, talking around the word you don't know.
Circumlocution, a big word. Circu means circle, locution means speech, speaking in circles. If you forget the word for umbrella, you say, the thing you hold over your head when it rains.
Exactly. The clerk eventually realized Sergey was joking, or crazy, but they had a 5-minute conversation. Sergey walked out of that store feeling like Superman. He had managed a complete breakdown of communication and fixed it. That is fluency. Fluency is not being perfect. Fluency is knowing how to repair the conversation when it breaks.
I love that definition. Fluency is the ability to repair. It takes the pressure off. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be adaptable.
So, week 4 was full of these missions. Ask for directions to a place that's right next to you. Call a restaurant and ask about their menu, then don't book a table. Return a shirt to a store and say you don't like the color. High friction situations.
High friction. You're intentionally creating conflict or awkwardness to test his nerves.
Yes, because the summit in Washington would be high friction. If he could handle a grumpy New York shop assistant, he could handle a diplomat.
So the 30 days ended. November 1st arrived. What happened?
I didn't hear from him for 2 days. I was worried. I thought maybe he failed. Maybe he was fired. Then, on November 3rd, I got a package. It was a bottle of very expensive vodka and a note.
What did the note say?
It said, "Peter, I spoke, they listened, I made a joke, they laughed, I am going to Washington."
Wow, that gives me goosebumps.
It was not magic, Daisy. It was work. It was 30 days of absolute focus. He lived in English, he breathed in English, he suffered in English, and he emerged as a different person.
That is an incredible story, and it proves that it is possible. But Peter, I have a question. Most of our listeners cannot take 30 days off life to do this intensity. They have kids, jobs, responsibilities. How can they adapt this diplomat schedule to a normal life?
That's a fair question. You don't have to do it all at once. You can take the principles. Principle 1, the input flood. Can you wake up 30 minutes earlier and do the listening? Yes, you can. Principle 2, the shadowing. Can you do the mirror technique while you're brushing your teeth or driving to work? Yes, you can. Principle 3, the scripting. Can you write down the 5 conversations you have most often at work and memorize them? Yes, you can.
It's about intensity of focus, not just duration of time. Even if you only have 1 hour a day, if that hour is intense, if it is active, not passive, you will see results.
Exactly. Don't just study. Train. Treat it like a sport.
Peter, before we wrap up, I want to go back to the mindset, the plateau of despair. We briefly touched on it. This happens to everyone. You study hard for 2 weeks, you feel great, and then suddenly, nothing. You feel like you're getting worse.
Ah, the plateau. Oh, it's the graveyard of ambition. Here's what happens biologically. When you first start, you learn the easy words. Cat, dog, hello, thank you. You feel like a genius, high progress. Then you hit the complex grammar, conditionals, phrasal verbs, nuance. The progress slows down. You're working harder, but seeing less result.
It feels like running in mud.
Yes, and this is where people quit. They think, I'm not talented, I'm not good at languages. It's a lie. You're just on the plateau. The plateau is actually where the brain is consolidating information. It's like baking a cake. You put it in the oven and close the door. It looks like nothing is happening, but inside the chemistry is changing. If you open the door every 5 minutes, the cake collapses.
So when you feel stuck, that's actually when you're learning the most?
Yes, discomfort is evidence of growth. If you're comfortable, you're not learning. If you're frustrated, celebrate. It means your brain is stretching.
Celebrate your frustration. I'm going to make a t-shirt with that slogan.
It will not be a bestseller, but it will be true.
I want to do one more practical drill before we close. We talked about intonation and emotion. Let's talk about the schwa sound, the lazy sound, because this relates to the American versus British debate too.
The schwa, the sound of a teenager who doesn't want to clean his room. Ugh.
Exactly. It's the most common sound in English, and it's the secret to sounding native. In the word banana, we don't say ba-na-na.
We say banana. The first and last A's become schwas. They become tiny. The middle A is the star of the show.
British, banana, lighter, sharper.
American, banana, flatter, longer.
but the schwa is the same. Listeners, try to identify the schwa in your own name or in words like computer. It's not computer, it's computer.
Or today. It's not today, it's today. I'm going to the store today. If you say today clearly, you sound like a robot. You sound too perfect.
That's the irony. To sound perfect, you must be imperfect. You must be lazy with your vowels.
Controlled laziness. That's the American way.
Peter, this has been an absolute goldmine of information. We have covered the diplomat schedule. Week 1, the silent sponge, input only. Week 2, the awakening, shadowing and pronunciation. Week 3, the construction site, scripting and connectors. Week 4, the gladiator arena, real-world missions.
And we covered the mindset, the willingness to fail, the rejection of perfectionism.
Peter, if you could leave our listeners with one final thought, one thing to carry with them this week, what would it be?
I would say this. You are not learning English to pass a test. You are learning English to connect with human beings. Every word you learn is a bridge to another person's soul. It sounds dramatic, but it's true. That diplomat, Sergei, he didn't just save his career, he made friends in Washington. He understood a culture. He expanded his world. Do not focus on the grammar rules. Focus on the bridges you are building.
Beautifully said. Focus on the bridges.
And throw away the grammar books. Seriously, burn them.
Maybe don't burn them. Recycle them. We're eco-friendly here.
Fine, recycle them. Get them off your desk. Put on your headphones, open your mouth, and start making noise.
Thank you, Professor Peter Hanson. It has been an honor.
The pleasure was mine, Daisy. Keep up the good work.
And to our listeners, thank you for giving us your time. Remember, consistency beats intensity, but intensity plus consistency changes your life. This is the Slow English Channel. I'm Daisy.
I'm Peter.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye.